Hi, everyone. My name is Katie LaPlant. I'm a member of Local 322 out of Minneapolis, St. Paul, Minnesota. I am an 11th year journeyman carpenter, and I'm currently working for the University of Minnesota as a foreman. Before I became a carpenter, I worked in higher education in Winona at St. Mary's University. I was the director of activities and volunteer services. So I sort of became a carpenter on accident. I had left my job down in Winona. I was searching for a career. I was looking to get out of Winona, closer to the cities, closer to my family. And I found my first carpenter job on a nonprofit website. And I worked for Community Action for the first year of my career. And working for them, I weatherized homes. And I started at a weird time in construction because nobody was really hiring, work wasn't happening. It was in that 2010 time period. And President Obama put a bunch of money into the stimulus package for weatherizing homes. And that's sort of how I got my first job. And to be honest, I actively looked for other work for a good year after becoming a carpenter because I just didn't think it was for me. So after about a year in the trade, I said to myself, if you're going to do this, Katie, it's time to do this. So I left Community Action and I moved to a framing and sheetrock company. And I would say this to anybody who's new in construction, in carpentry, is I learned the most framing and sheetrocking because it taught me everything I needed to know, working with all the different trades, plumbers, electricians, everybody. You have to work with everybody when you're framing and rocking buildings. So I just that first couple of years, I just kind of trucked along, kind of hung out by myself, went to work, went home, hung out with friends, and I wasn't very active in the union at all. And then fast forward to my third year, I was in class and one of my instructors was talking about the local meeting that was happening that night at school. And he said, does anybody want to go to Washington, D.C.? The local is paying for a third-year apprentice to go for a 4-day weekend to learn, I think it was the AFL-CIO conference that happens in Washington, D.C. every year. And he said to everybody in my class, we were all there, we were all third-year apprentices, that they should go to the meeting if they want to go. So I decided at that class that I was going to go to this meeting because I wanted a free trip to Washington, D.C. And I was convinced everybody from my class was going to be there because I was convinced everybody else wanted this trip. And I got to the meeting. I saw my instructor, Steve, there. Steve said hi. And then when it came time for a third-year apprentice to volunteer, I raised my hand and I said, I'll go to Washington, D.C. And I tell you, it was that trip that changed my relationship with the union, because before that I didn't have a relationship with the union. I kind of just went to work and went home. Was happy for the job, happy for the money I was making. And after that trip, I started going to meetings every month, excuse me. I participated. I volunteered whenever they needed volunteers. And I have to say, I've had some pretty amazing opportunities come of it. Currently, I'm the recording secretary for Local 322. I am the chair for the Sister and the Brotherhood committee right here in the Twin Cities. I'm sitting on the trial committee for the North Central States Regional Council of Carpenters. And I take advantage of every opportunity that comes my way. I've been to Vegas 6 or 7 times for all the different leadership opportunities. And I really just enjoy what I do. And I always say that the more you put into the union, the more you take out of the union. This last year, I was recently promoted to foreman over at the University of Minnesota. And I think one of the main reasons why I was promoted is because I'm so active in the union and I'm able to talk to my brothers and sisters on campus about what's going on, what's happening. And I also come from a higher education background, and they really appeal to something like that. So I would say to any female out there to stick with it, do what you're comfortable with, do what makes you happy, and being the best carpenter around isn't the only, how should I phrase this? Being the best at our trade isn't the only opportunity that's allotted to you. And I've taken advantage of all the opportunities that have been given to me, and I think that's why I'm at where I am today. So I would just like to thank the ITC for giving us an opportunity to get together and talk as a group tonight, and more importantly, to share my story. And I hope it encourages you to stick with it and do what you got to do to be the best that you can be in this trade. Thank you, sisters and brothers.